Hello and welcome to the channel. More criticisms have come the way of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. This time, it was the Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu who laid into the governor, saying Emefiele is not fit to head the Apex Bank. He went further by saying Emefiele had no business in contesting for the office of president while he was still the governor of CBN, and that should have resulted in him being booted out of office. He drew a line further by saying that having lost at the primaries, Emefiele had decided to disrupt the election by coming up with his thoughtless, cashless policy. Too many knock come in the way of the CBN governor. How do these people sleep at night, knowing half of the country is calling for their head, and the other half, well, is calling for their head as well? Anyways, something must give. As is rightly said, tough situations don't last, tough people do. Nigerians go day all right, last. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Emefiele unfit as CBN governor. He is too partisan. Akeredolu. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State on Wednesday stated that the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN, Godwin Emefiele, is not fit to head the Apex Bank. According to Akeredolu, the CBN governor ought to have been booted from office when he showed interest in contesting for the presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress APC. The governor added that with the failed bid of Emefiele to contest the primary, it would ensure that it disrupts the 2023 polls. Akeredolu spoke while receiving members of the Youth Directorate of the Presidential Campaign Council (PCC) of the APC, led by Seyi Tinubu, disclosed that the rating of the APC has drastically dropped with the naira and fuel shortages in the country. He also urged President Muhammadu Buhari to direct Emefiele to reverse the naira redesign policy now, adding that the new and old notes should be allowed to coexist. Akeredolu noted that despite an existing court injunction, the old notes seem to have ceased to be legal tender in the country. We have a problem we are facing in this country today. Our rating as a party is not that favorable. Let's not deceive ourselves. Must it be now that we will have this financial policy? Okada, taxes, banks are not taking hold notes again. There is an injunction and everyone is behaving like there is no injunction. On his part, Seyi Tinubu, son of the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, appreciated Akeredolu for his commitment to youth development and inclusion in the state. Meanwhile, the crisis surrounding the naira redesign worsened as the Central Bank of Nigeria failed to clarify the legal tender status of the whole notes. The development created more confusion across the country amid the refusal by banks, filling stations and traders to accept the whole currencies. This happened as a shortage of new notes persisted in states and the Federal Capital Territory. However, the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele rolled out further extension of the deadline stipulated for the phasing out of the whole 1,000 naira, 500 naira and 200 naira notes. Emefiele made the disclosure during a meeting with members of the diplomatic community in Abuja. He spoke against the backdrop of concerns generated by a Supreme Court order suspending the February 10 deadline pending the determination of a suit by some state governors slated for hearing on February 15, yesterday. Amid Nigerians believed that the hold notes would remain legal tender until the determination of the Supreme Court suit, the CBN governor told members of the diplomatic community that the Apex Bank will not extend the deadline. Emefiele was, however, silent on the legal tender status of the whole naira notes. He said, "No doubt, there are pockets of pressure in some areas. The CBN is working hard to shift pressure and resources to those areas in order to ease the tension. The situation is substantially calming down since the commencement of over-the-counter payments to complement ATM disbursements and the use of super agents. There is therefore no need to consider any shift from the deadline of February 10. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and please turn the notification bell on. Thank you. Emefiele also blamed those mopping up cash, hoarders, and racketeers for the queues at the ATM points. We have also noticed that some Nigerians are capitalizing on the time transition to charging exorbitant fees. These selfish actions for personal monetary gains are causes of hardship for Nigerians and come at the expense of lives and livelihood, he said, assuring that the bank will provide the optimal amount of cash to support economic activities. The CBN will create the availability of an appropriate optimal amount of currency of 500 naira, 200 naira and 1000 naira denomination, and even the existing 100 naira notes, 50 and 20 naira to support economic activities. We will continue to issue and circulate new notes, but once we get to our optimal level or slightly above, we will seek to put in place a policy that people must not keep monies in their homes, Emefiele said. He noted that Nigeria had one of the best payment infrastructure in the world, which would help in the full implementation of the cashless policy. He also said that the economic shock triggered by the naira scarcity was temporary and necessary to encourage a more cashless economy. To effectively drive a cashless economy, the governor submitted that the money in circulation should be around 700 billion naira to 1 trillion naira. He appealed to members of the diplomatic community for support in ensuring the success of the cashless policy. The CBN governor strangely blamed the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for encouraging people to hold cash and do transactions outside the banks. What happens is that when suspicious transactions are reported by the bank to the NFIU, the EFCC and ICPC are obligated to pick those suspicious transactions and investigate them. But of course, what we found in the course of investigating them, those who thought that they were being investigated for those suspicious transactions began to abandon the banks and began to build vaults in their homes. That is the reason we've seen currency outside the banking industry at 2.72 trillion naira out of 3.32 trillion naira. This is unacceptable. We want a situation where the CBN is in firm control of the money supply, and like I keep saying, we have our data, Emefiele added. The CBN governor also said that point-of-sale agents who charged above 200 naira for the CBN cash swap program will be arrested and jailed when caught. He further said that the POS operators could come to the CBN to be compensated for any extra cost incurred in getting the new notes rather than levying a higher fee on customers. That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye.